Okay, in this video I just put the trig stuff we've been using for Peel method on top, and I want to talk about, okay, how would you start each one of these problems? Okay, none of them is necessarily a Peel method problem, and a Peel method usually, almost always, requires you to have an odd power. We don't have an odd power. Okay, so in this first one, I think my first order of business would just be to ignore the 5x. Right, and just say, okay, how could I ignore that to begin with? So I'd have 1/5 the integral of cosine squared w dw. And now, hopefully you look up and you say, well, we know what cosine squared is. So it's 1/5 times 1/2 the integral of 1 plus the cosine of 2w dw. And we just replace, and then you can just proceed through that, just doing the integral. Okay. The next one, cosine to the fourth. Well, cosine to the fourth, remember, is the same as cosine squared of x squared dx. So I would replace the cosine squared with this and then square it. So we'd have 1/2, so 1 plus cosine 2x squared dx. And I'd actually multiply that out. You know, of course the 1/2 will square to be 1/4, and then you'll have, 1 plus 2 cosine 2x plus cosine squared of 2x dx. And you'll have to replace this using this rule. So, I mean, you'd have to do quite a bit of work here. I mean, it's not going to be an easy integral. This part shouldn't be much of a problem. You know, this is just x. This will just be, the sine of 2x, but this, cosine squared 2x, you'll have to go back up here and do that integral with this. Okay. This last one, we know what sine squared is. It's this, so I could replace sine squared with 1/2 of 1 minus cosine 2x. Okay. I know what cosine squared is, so of course cosine of the fourth is just whatever cosine squared is squared, so 1/2 of 1 plus, let me put some parentheses there, 1 plus cosine of 2x squared dx. And then I hate to say it, but you got to multiply this whole thing out. You could bring this 1/2 out front, you can bring 1/2 squared out front, and then you're actually going to have to multiply this. And once you do that, then you can integrate it. So the tough thing with even powers, odd powers, we get to do this Peel method and just substitute. It works out really well. The tough thing with even powers is very often it comes down to just multiplying it out. We know what cosine squared is. It's this. But if we have to square it, then we actually have to multiply the whole thing out and then do the integral. And here, same thing, we'll have to actually multiply the whole thing out and do the integral.